What really happened at the Battle of Cunaxa, the death of Cyrus the Younger, and the legend of the 10,000? Welcome back to Eon Timeless History, where we journey into the greatest battles, forgotten empires, and extraordinary moments that shaped civilization. If you enjoy authentic historical documentaries based on ancient sources and modern research, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. Now, let's travel back more than 2,400 years to one of history's most remarkable military campaigns. Imagine standing in the scorching heat of ancient Mesopotamia. The horizon is hidden behind enormous clouds of dust. Thousands of soldiers wait in silence, gripping their shields and spears. Somewhere beyond that wall of dust is the largest army they have ever seen. What begins as a battle for the Persian throne will soon become one of the greatest survival stories in military history. It is the story of Cyrus the Younger, King Artaxerxes II, and the legendary Greek army remembered forever as the 10,000. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, would you have followed Cyrus into the heart of the Persian Empire for the promise of glory and fortune, or would you have stayed safely at home? The story begins shortly after the death of the mighty Persian king Darius II. His eldest son, Artaxerxes II, inherited the throne of the largest empire on earth. But another man believed he deserved the crown. That man was his younger brother, Cyrus the Younger. Unlike his brother, Cyrus had earned a reputation as an energetic governor, an ambitious commander, and a generous leader who inspired fierce loyalty. Stationed in Western Asia Minor, he quietly began preparing for rebellion. Publicly, he claimed he was gathering troops to suppress local enemies. Secretly, he was assembling an invasion force to march directly against his own brother. Cyrus understood one important truth. Persian armies were enormous, but many Greek soldiers had earned a reputation for discipline, courage, and effectiveness in close combat. Determined to strengthen his chances, Cyrus hired thousands of experienced Greek mercenaries, many of them hardened veterans of the Peloponnesian War. These men believed they were joining a profitable military expedition. Most had little idea that they were marching toward the heart of the Persian Empire to decide the fate of the throne itself. For months, the army advanced across mountains, rivers, deserts, and fertile valleys. Their journey stretched for hundreds of miles through unfamiliar territory. Supplies became scarce, temperatures climbed relentlessly, and rumors spread through the ranks. Only when the army was already deep inside the empire did many soldiers finally learn the truth. Their employer intended to overthrow the great king himself. Surprisingly, very few turned back. Many believed victory would bring unimaginable wealth. Others trusted Cyrus personally. Some simply believed that retreat was more dangerous than continuing forward. As the expedition approached Babylon, reports confirmed that Artaxerxes had assembled an enormous imperial army. Ancient sources disagree on the exact numbers, but modern historians agree the king commanded a force substantially larger than Cyrus's army. The two armies finally approached one another near the village of Cunaxa, on the banks of the Euphrates River, in 401 BC. On the morning of battle, tension filled every rank. Cyrus inspected his army personally. Unlike many rulers who preferred elaborate protection, he chose to fight where the danger was greatest. He wanted every soldier to see their commander sharing the same risks. The Greek mercenaries formed on the right flank beside the Euphrates. Their bronze armor glittered beneath the blazing Mesopotamian sun. Long spears rested against massive round shields. These hoplites had trained for years to fight shoulder to shoulder, each man protecting both himself and the warrior beside him. Across the plain stretched the army of Artaxerxes. Persian cavalry occupied wide sections of the battlefield. Archers prepared countless arrows. Infantry from many different provinces stood together under imperial banners. Scythed chariots waited ahead of the lines, their deadly blades designed to tear through tightly packed infantry formations. Everything suggested that Cyrus faced overwhelming odds. As the armies slowly closed the distance, Cyrus rode toward the Greek commanders with a crucial request. He urged them to advance directly toward the Persian center. His reasoning was simple. The great king would almost certainly be positioned there. If Artaxerxes fell, The battle would end immediately, but the Greek commander hesitated, leaving the safety of the riverbank exposed his soldiers to possible encirclement. He believed maintaining formation was more important than following Cyrus's risky plan. That decision would shape everything that followed. As the distance between both armies shrank, the Greeks advanced in perfect order. Ancient accounts describe them chanting war hymns before suddenly accelerating into a determined charge. The psychological effect was devastating. Rather than waiting for impact, many Persian troops broke formation almost immediately. The feared scythed chariots proved surprisingly ineffective. Well-trained Greek soldiers simply opened lanes to let them pass before closing ranks again. The terrifying machines failed to shatter the disciplined phalanx. Within minutes, the Greek right wing had achieved a remarkable success. Enemy units fled before them. The mercenaries pursued their opponents, convinced that victory belonged to Cyrus. But while the Greeks chased retreating soldiers, the decisive struggle unfolded elsewhere. Watching events unfold, Cyrus realized something dangerous. His brother remained alive. If Artaxerxes maintained control of the imperial army, everything the rebellion had achieved could still collapse. Determined to end the conflict himself, Cyrus gathered his elite cavalry and launched a direct assault toward the royal position. It was an extraordinary gamble. The prince personally led the charge through waves of Persian horsemen. Ancient writers describe Cyrus fighting with exceptional courage, pushing relentlessly toward his brother. Then came the moment history would remember forever. Cyrus spotted Artaxerxes. Ignoring every warning, he shouted that he had found the king and drove directly toward him. According to several ancient sources, Cyrus struck his brother and wounded him. For a brief moment, the impossible seemed within reach. Then, everything changed. During the furious fighting surrounding the royal bodyguards, Cyrus received a devastating wound near his face. Whether it came from a spear, javelin, or another weapon remains debated by historians. The prince fell from his horse. His closest companions immediately surrounded him, refusing to abandon their leader. One by one, they fought until they too were killed. Cyrus the Younger died only moments after reaching the man he had traveled hundreds of miles to defeat. His dream of becoming king of Persia ended on the battlefield. The consequences were immediate. Many Persian troops serving Cyrus lost hope the instant they learned of his death. Commanders abandoned the field. Entire formations dissolved into retreat. Ironically, the Greek mercenaries knew nothing about any of this. They had defeated every enemy directly facing them. They believed the battle had been won. Only hours later did the shocking truth finally reach them. Their employer was dead. The rebellion had collapsed. They were now stranded more than 1,000 miles from home, surrounded by the world's greatest empire. If you're enjoying this journey through history, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Eon Timeless History. Every subscription helps us continue bringing carefully researched stories from the ancient world. The following day, Persian envoys approached the Greeks. They demanded unconditional surrender. "Lay down your weapons," they said, "and perhaps the great king would show mercy." The Greek commanders refused. They understood a harsh reality. Their shields and spears were no longer simply weapons. They were the only reason they were still alive. Without them, they would become helpless prisoners deep inside enemy territory. Instead of surrendering, they prepared for the impossible. They would march all the way back to Greece. No friendly cities waited along the route. No secure supply lines existed. Hostile forces surrounded them on every side. Crossing rivers, mountains, deserts, and enemy kingdoms would require not only courage, but extraordinary discipline. Their survival depended on maintaining formation every single day. Soon their difficulties became even greater. Persian diplomacy succeeded where military force had failed. Several leading Greek generals accepted invitations to negotiate with Persian commanders. It was a trap. The generals were arrested and executed. Overnight, the army lost its senior leadership. Panic threatened to destroy everything. Then an Athenian officer stepped forward. His name is Xenophon. Originally serving only as a volunteer without high command, Xenophon suddenly found himself helping organize one of history's greatest military retreats. Through speeches, discipline, and practical leadership, he helped transform fear into determination. The army reorganized itself and continued marching north. Every day brought new dangers. Enemy cavalry harassed the column. Mountain tribes launched ambushes. Food became increasingly difficult to obtain. Snowstorms covered dangerous mountain passes. Many soldiers died from exhaustion, starvation, or freezing temperatures. Yet the army continued. Whenever one obstacle blocked the path, the Greeks adapted. When cavalry threatened them, they adjusted their formations. When mountain tribes attacked from above, they climbed impossible slopes to outflank them. When rivers blocked their progress, they searched relentlessly for crossings. Their greatest weapon was no longer their spears, it was discipline. Months passed, thousands of miles disappeared beneath weary feet. Finally, one unforgettable day, scouts reached a mountain summit overlooking the Black Sea. Suddenly, a cry echoed across the hills. "The sea! The sea!" For exhausted soldiers, the sight of the distant water meant hope. It meant survival. It meant they had finally escaped the heart of the Persian Empire. Although their journey was not yet completely over, reaching the Black Sea became the defining moment of the expedition. Against every expectation, the army had survived. The story of the 10,000 spread throughout the Greek world. It demonstrated something astonishing. A relatively small force of disciplined heavy infantry had repeatedly defeated much larger Persian armies during open battle. This lesson would influence military thinking for generations. More than 60 years later, another ambitious conqueror crossed into Asia. His name was Alexander of Macedon. Historians continue debating how much he studied Xenophon's account, but there is little doubt that the successful march of the 10,000 proved something many had once considered impossible. The Persian Empire could be challenged. The Battle of Cunaxa therefore became far more than a failed rebellion. It became one of history's greatest military case studies. It revealed the strengths and weaknesses of the Persian Empire. It highlighted the unmatched discipline of the Greek hoplite phalanx. Most importantly, it produced one of the greatest survival stories ever recorded. Without Xenophon's detailed narrative, much of this incredible journey might have disappeared forever. Instead, it continues to inspire historians, military leaders, and readers more than 2,000 years later. The Battle of Cunaxa reminds us that victory on one part of a battlefield does not always decide the outcome of a war. Sometimes, the death of a single leader changes history more dramatically than the success of thousands of soldiers. Cyrus won tactical successes, but lost his life. The Greeks won their battle, yet found themselves trapped inside enemy territory. From that impossible situation emerged a legend that still captivates the world today. What do you think was the greatest reason the 10,000 survived? Was it Greek discipline, Xenophon's leadership, Persian mistakes, or simple determination? Share your thoughts in the comments because we read every one of them, and your perspective may appear in a future episode. Thank you for watching Eon Timeless History. If you enjoyed this documentary, please leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts. Explore our channel for more stories of forgotten empires, legendary battles, remarkable leaders, and the events that shaped our world. Until next time, keep exploring history, because the past is never truly gone. It is waiting to be rediscovered.